The centralized MLS era is officially dead, and most agents are completely unprepared for what's coming next. Right now, we are in the middle of a private MLS war. Massive corporate brokerages are intentionally pulling listings off of the open market to hoard internal inventory, while consumers search portals are aggressively fighting back. If you are still relying on a simple MLS matrix refresh to find homes for your buyers, you're missing an entire ecosystem of shadow inventory. Today, I'm cutting through the legal noise. We're breaking down the exact structural shift happening with private networks, potential retaliation, and the exact data-driven strategy you need to deploy to find the listings and protect your business. If you're an agent who sees what's happening and you value client transparency and maximum market exposure, but you're genuinely concerned about where the industry is trending, I want to invite you to a look behind the curtain of what we're building. Hit the link in the description to book a discovery call for Carbon Collective. We've built an ecosystem with the flexibility to thrive no matter which way the data fractures, backed by high energy, culture, and exact training you need to take your business to the next level. Let's dive into the macro reality of what we are going through here. If you've been watching the headlines, you know the residential real estate sector has entered an era of unprecedented structural upheaval. We've seen historic antitrust litigation, aggressive federal regulatory interventions from the Department of Justice, and massive market consolidation. But what most people aren't thinking about is how the traditional mechanism of organized real estate are completely fracturing under the surface. For decades, our industry was unified under a decentralized network of regional multiple list services, all held together by the National Association of Realtors regulatory umbrella. That institutional center is now backing away. Following massive class action antitrust settlements like Sitzer-Burnett, where federal juries found traditional cooperative compensation rules inflated commission structures, NAR has undergone a massive strategic retreat to de-risk the National Association from existential financial liabilities. NAR has systematically repealed prescriptive national mandates in favor of localized direction. Look at the updates to the multiple listing policy handbook. National guidelines on vetting non-member access repealed. Prescriptive national disciplinary fine structures removed entirely. Strict geographic service area boundaries for regional MLSs repealed. What does this top-down deregulation actually mean for you and your local market? It means local MLSs are completely on their own to navigate compliance, enforcement, and survival. As a result, the institutional middle of our industry is collapsing. The total number of MLSs in the United States has plummeted below 500, dropping nearly 43% from its peak a decade ago. The industry is reorganizing into a fractured tribal data ecosystem. Information is no longer freely shared across a cooperative marketplace. It is being actively weaponized as a tool to control inventory and capture market share. If you rely on old, lazy routines to run your business, you are facing systematic irrelevance. This data fragmentation isn't an accident, it's deliberate corporate strategy. As inventory shortages remain a structural reality across the country, massive corporate conglomerates have recognized a competitive edge. Withholding listings from the open market, doing this allows them to facilitate double-ended transactions, capturing the full commission internally, and using exclusive inventory as a recruitment tool to pull agents away from independent brokerages. Look at the data. No one has exploited this shift more aggressively than the Compass Anywhere merger. They formalized a three-phase marketing strategy engineered to extract maximum value from a listing before the rest of the industry even knows it exists. Phase 1 is a private exclusive, where properties are marketed strictly within their internal network, hidden from all portals and external agents. Phase 2 is coming soon, building buyer demand through exclusive portal alliances. Phase 3 is the active MLS launch, which only happens after their internal demand is completely exhausted. By mid-2025, internal documents revealed that nearly 48% of their listings were originating as off-market private exclusives. This systematic extraction of data has caused massive retaliation, culminating in multi-million-dollar antitrust lawsuits and consumer portal fights. Just recently, in a massive flashpoint in Chicago, the regional MLS MRED completely severed Zillow's data feed overnight, pulling thousands of listings off the consumer portal. Zillow sued, exposing deep text message collusion between mega brokerage executives and MLS leadership. More alarmingly, a coalition of consumer advocacy groups, including the Consumer Federation of America, stepped in with empirical data showing that this off-market fragmentation severely harms the consumer. Homes sold off open MLS system net sellers an average of $49.75 less per transaction, and it disproportionately impacts minority communities, widening equity gaps in working class neighborhoods. Now let's talk about where we stand in all of this. My brokerage, eXp Realty, takes an incredibly clear and outspoken public stance on this issue. We are fundamentally dedicated to transparency, open market cooperation, and maximizing public exposure for listings. Why? Because leading with maximum exposure is the only way to ensure your sellers actually net the highest possible price, while honoring our ethical obligations to fair housing and consumer choice. But as a business strategist, I also look at the reality of the horizon. Because eXp is a massive mover in transaction count both nationally and internationally, our leadership isn't sitting idle. While we fiercely champion and fight to protect the open, cooperative MLS system, eXp has quietly engineered and maintained a massive back-end technology infrastructure. If the traditional MLS system completely collapses and goes fully private, eXp has the global scale to instantly flip the switch on an internal network that can sustain your business overnight. If you're an agent who's completely on board with transparency, if you see the undeniable value of maximum market exposure for your clients, but you are genuinely concerned that the industry might trend the other way, we need to talk. You shouldn't have to compromise your business ethics or shortchange your sellers just to survive, but you also cannot afford to remain completely exposed without an international safety net. So, how do you navigate this fractured ecosystem right now? How do you protect your buyers and protect your pipeline today? First, you have to shift from a reactive mindset to a proactive listing generation model. If your daily routine consists of waking up, opening your local MLS dashboard, and hitting refresh, you've already lost the game. With active inventory levels tracking significantly below historical averages, elite practitioners have pivoted to building proprietary pipelines driven by predictive analytics. Instead of a mass cold call or blanket mailers that convert at less than 1%, we're leveraging territory-based seller scoring algorithms. These data models look at ownership, tenure, accumulated equity positions, and distinct life stage changes to identify potential sellers months before they even raise their hand. Then we deploy a structured multi-channel sequence combining hyper-localized market data, updates, intentional direct outreach, and personal communication to capture the listing before a corporate brokerage can lock it behind a private wall. Second, your broker representation must become portal agnostic. To fulfill your fiduciary duty to a buyer in 2026, you can no longer rely on an automated MLS search feature. You have to manually cross-reference the open MLS, consumer portal preview sections, and individual corporate private networks. You have to actively hunt the shadow inventory. Third, you have to arm your buyers with advanced financing mechanisms as a competitive weapon. When an off-market property surfaces in a private network, the timelines are compressed and the margin for error is zero. This is why our network heavily utilizes institutional cash-backed offer strategies and advanced bridge lending. By turning the traditional finance buyer into a clean cash-backed offer, you remove appraisals and financing friction entirely. Sellers choosing private networks prioritize privacy, speed, and low drama. When you present an offer that functions exactly like a cash offer, your buyers win over traditional offers every single day. And let me stop here because I want to say that this kind of workflow that I just went over is certainly an option, but it's always consumer first. If the cost is too high or something along the lines of lending and all of that, we have to realize that we have to learn how to operate together as a community and help our buyers and fulfill those fiduciary duties to both our buyers and our sellers as we navigate this kind of change. All of this is just kind of a workflow idea that could help and could be a massive game changer for your business, especially with the flexibility. The Private MLS War has transformed the role of real estate professionals. You are no longer just a facilitator of contracts. You are a specialized navigator of highly restricted weaponized data ecosystem. Relying on old tools and isolated brokerages will leave your business completely exposed. If you're an agent who is fully on board with transparency and you see the massive value of maximum exposure, but you're concerned the industry might trend the other way, Let's have a conversation. EXP is dialed into transparency, but we're actively building the system to protect you otherwise. Click the link in the description right now to book a Carbon Collective discovery call. Let's jump on a call so you can look behind the curtain of our community and see how we have built total business flexibility no matter which way the industry trends, and get you direct access to supportive, high-energy culture and next-level training that you're missing right now. And if you want to see the exact software stack and automation workflows we use to build these predictive seller pipelines so you can beat private networks to the punch, click on the video on the screen right now where I break down my entire CRM setup. I'll see you on the call, and I'll see you in the next video.